And good evening, everybody. This is Cruz, and you're on Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8 TV Live. I'm expecting our guest to show any minute now. We are going to do a special broadcast, and the reason that I am on, there's been quite a few things on my mind. First of all, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Design Creations and Candles, for being with us and being our sponsor. If you want to have your home with the most excellent products, go to Design Creations and Candles Facebook page and contact Miss Pamela Price. She has some exquisite home decor products for you, and she will be glad to show you those items. Again, we're being sponsored by Design Creations and Candles. As I wait for my guest to come on, I wanted to give a little bit of background about what's going on. As you noticed here, that the commentary that I put out here today is referencing uh, Black America, where art thou? And this is kind of an unusual territory for me to be in, and I wanted to speak to mainly Black America and have a discussion tonight about what's going on. There have been a number of different things. Ahmaud Arbery, Dr. Armen Henderson, the FedEx drivers, also DarQuan Jones out in Des Moines, Iowa. A lot of things have been going on lately, and to uh, add insult to injury, we're confronted with the pandemic, but there is also an epidemic going on right now, and that epidemic is the of black people being accosted, and even worse. And as a social media person with the platform, I think that it is more than right that I at least address what is going on, to try to make sense of what's going on in a public eye. What prompted me to even want to have this conversation is that on last night, after my son was visiting with us, my baby boy who will be 21 in October, I he lives about maybe 10 minutes from the house here. And for the first time in a long time, I was actually concerned because within about maybe 15 minutes, I told him when he left here to make sure that he gives me a call or text me and let me know that he's home safely. So I guess about 10 minutes had transpired. So I, at that time, uh, gave him a call. And the reason I called him was, again, because it normally takes about 10 minutes to transition from where we live to where he is. And again, it was just a sense of urgency that came over me. So, with that being said, I called him, and fortunately, he was all right. But what I'm about to say is that we have a new protocol now in the Black community where, with our sons, and mainly with our sons right now, we have to go an extra mile. We have to make sure that we're teaching them things that we never had to necessarily teach in this intensity, about being safe, about whether or not to fight or flight, not only having to deal with perhaps police officers, those in law enforcement, but now we're also having to teach them about how to survive in this new world that we're in. And tonight, I'm so glad to have a special guest here with me. This young lady and I go back to 2020, actually. And I am going to let her introduce herself, and then I'm going to give you the backstory. Good evening, Diva. How you doing?
brothers and family. Thanks for having me on. Sorry for the
I am. Can you hear me, Diva? Because I cannot hear you. Let
You
me.
can't hear me?
You cannot hear me.
Sorry.
All right, let's do a little something different. All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. I got the right mic on now.
Okay.
So, welcome to welcome to Cruise Inc. Radio TV Live. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Hope that you've had a wonderful weekend so far, and gearing up for the holidays. Please tell our audience a little bit about Miss Diva, and then I'm gonna give the backstory to how we evolved to where we are right now.
Awesome. So I'm a relationship coach. There's a lot to me. I'm here on Memorial Weekend, and it means a lot to my family because my soldier was killed in the war. So having so much going on in addition to right now, being in this time when Black America seems to be under attack. We're always under attack. So I always say that very lightly because there's really no um, make America great again. When was it great? So, but yes, you guys, I'm a relationship coach. I also have a podcast. I host a podcast. I write self-help books and a host of other things. You can find me on social media, and we'll share that information later. But that's probably the fastest way. I'm a mother of 3. My children are all essential workers during this pandemic. They're essential workers year round. So that's me in the short form.
Now, Diva, you and I, again, as I was kind of laying the foundation, we first connected back in 2020 when you were
2010.
on 20,
2010.
yeah, 2010, yeah, I want to
Yeah.
short 10 years, and you were on Blog Talk, and you had a fantastic show going on, and I was actually just calling in and on a kind of like a regular basis, and you and I got to know each other quite well. And I wanted to say this: you are the reason that I am still in radio and doing the things that I do because you encouraged me to launch out on in terms of starting with Blog Talk, starting a talk show as well. So I wanted to say thank you because here we are 10 years later and we're still both doing our thing. And thank you for that jump start.
You're welcome. And can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Awesome. Connecting some microphones so I don't want things to not work.
Yeah, and I can see my Facebook comments just fine. Christine Patrick down in Texas. Thank you.
Family. Hey, Christine.
Yes, absolutely. So, Diva, one of the things that that we're talking about tonight is, and I kind of labeled this "Where Art Thou, Black America?" And the reason that I'm asking this, and hopefully we can get some comments from people, is that we've seen just a number of things go on within the last roughly 5 months.
Right.
We've seen, Ahmaud Arbery brutally murdered, and I'm gonna call it what it is. It was murder. We seen a prominent doctor down in Miami in front of his own home, getting ready to go out and do some good Samaritan things, accosted by a white police officer and handcuffed for no apparent reason. We've seen delivery drivers for FedEx out trying to do their work, essential people being confronted by white people. We've seen a young man in Des Moines, Iowa, going to his girlfriend's house, get ready to go to work, get him some rest so he can go to work, and confronted and beat the crap out of by some people that, for whatever reason, thought in the name of justice that they were apprehending a burglar. And I'm sitting here, and I was sharing last night for the first time in a long time when my son left my house I was really upset because it took him a few minutes. And I'm looking at, wait a minute, wait. I'm looking at something, Demon. It says it looks like this broadcast was deleted on Facebook to stream a Facebook created broadcast or just removed. And I'm wondering, we got this. Here we go. We got this blog talk stuff going on Facebook already.
You know, when we start talking about our issues, is the only time when technology needs to make sure that everything's working right. And you guys, I'm going to cut you off. Has nothing to do with your topic, but yeah. Let me
Well,
check and see here. Let's take a break. This is like a music break, you guys, if you're still connected. And let me see what's happening here.
well, it looks like on my personal page, we're still connected on the
We're still
Cruise Inc.
connected on mine.
Okay,
Good
on the
job. Good
Cruise
job.
Inc. Radio page and also on the YouTube page. So
Awesome.
great. We're going to
You guys leave a
continue.
comment if you can still hear us. Looks like Sugar Honey Iced Tea is tuned in.
Okay, great. Thank you for tuning in.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. I want to give our
So,
audience, please
so let's
check
talk
in.
on some of those things.
Yeah,
I would like to respond to some of those. I would like to begin with all of those incidents have this one thing that is the truth about why these things happen, right? And
yes,
so the number one reason why all of this happens, whether it's the people in the black, those with dark skin, blacks, Africans in China being kicked out of China, or whether it is the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, or whether it's the murder of Trayvon Martin and a host of other people, whether it's the young lady that's gunned down by dirty police officers that happened in whatever state that happened in, the incident that you speak about in Florida, the FedEx officer. All these things are because the black skin is the most disrespected skin color across the globe.
absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
And,
It's
and I'm
not.
like,
I know a lot of people will come for me and they'll say, "Well, how dare you say that when this amount of Jews died during the Holocaust?" Well, do you really want to compare our numbers?
right. And I think that's when we get into this, one to split hairs, is that we are still living this. Okay. If you really want to talk about, okay, we understand everybody has a past, the Jewish Holocaust, but, what about all the uncounted murders that bringing us from Africa all the way over here and continuing throughout history? So who has the numbers on that? And again, we're not here to downplay the Holocaust or anything else. What we're here is to focus on the fact that, wow, black people are still being killed for no apparent reason, for just, no, there's an apparent reason, for just being black.
But
I'm gonna
just being
call it.
black.
I'm gonna call it like it is. And
We
I
got to
wanted
call
to
a
ask.
thing a thing because Missy Youngla told us to. So it is because we are black. And it doesn't have how ironic that we all have an incident we can look back on and say, something similar like that happened to me. I was pulled over. I was racially profiled. I was followed in a store. I was accused of stealing. This happened to me. I didn't get an opportunity to advance at the job. If every one of us have this story, it's no longer us.
Mm-hmm.
You can point the fingers at us all the time. But when all of us have a story to tell, chances are this is real. You can deflect all day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they talk about systemic health issues. Well, we have systemic racism. How about let's call that one out as well when we're talking
It
about how we're
overrides the
being
health
impacted.
issue. Yeah, yeah. The racism overrides everything because we wouldn't have the issues in the healthcare system if the fairness happened. If we took on racism and did something about the racism. So because we refuse to, as a united force, ironically in the United States, we refuse to call this thing a thing. And I believe that that's where the problems start.
Absolutely. I want to ask you, a mom of, you have a son in law enforcement, you have a son that just graduated, and again, congratulations to both
Thank
of
you.
them for those
Well,
outstanding
he just
accomplishments.
won. He's so amazing that he seems like he's so many. But that's just my one baby, my 23-year-old. He actually joined law enforcement before graduation. He got the job before graduation, and then he just graduated. I mean, this is just an amazing human being. Um, my children are just like, wow. You guys hear me say Mouth all the time. You're like, how did she raise them?
So, as a mom
I'm less
now,
than what you people think I am when I'm raising
eh,
my children.
absolutely wonderful job too. How do you feel, as a mom with an African American son in this day and age?
It's always been terrifying. I remember when he was still young. I remember being concerned about the sagging pants stage. I remember him going through it for a second and then getting out of it real quick, thanks to his mentor, who was a gift to me, Mr. Kevin. He lived in our neighborhood and he was just amazing. So he just kind of swooped in and was the voice that my child needed because my soldier had been killed in the war. The father figure aspect of what he needed on the daily basis was gifted to me in the neighborhood. And then his biological has been there. So he was able to see strong black men doing strong black man things, and that was important to me. Um, but I was always just like the other moms, very fearful because I grew up in Austin, Texas. I could tell you numerous. I tell you this: the racism in Austin, Texas, was so tremendous that when I decided to buy my home, I was still so traumatized from things that had happened decades before that I gave my money for my home to a whole different community that I didn't grow up in because I didn't want to pay back into a system that had never gave me reparations for the racial incidents that I had went through. So I can identify with these moms. Like, I've been there, done that. You will get through it, but I can't even say I 100% identify because it was not happening so frequently when I was raising my children, you know?
Absolutely. And what I thought about last night when my son was on the way home, and it took him a few minutes to get from my home to his mom's home. And I was thinking deep, I said, have I equipped him enough to be able to deal with not only being pulled over by police, but if he is accosted by some white people with some ill intent, have I equipped him enough to uh, where he doesn't, have to beg for his life? Have I instilled in him what to do? And as a father, that made me feel just like enraged, and also where as a with somebody with a platform now, I'm like, damn it, am I doing a freaking enough to, am I going to sit here and keep on with this homogenized programming that I do sometimes, or am I going to start getting off my ass and start putting some things out here for people to think about? And today,
You have the platform for it, you have the voice for it. We can only do so much. It takes a village, it takes more people, so you can have the platform and you're putting the subject out there. Someone else may not have the platform. Support Cruz's platform. You could just share it. So then you have the voice of something that he's trying to do, not selfishly. To save your son's life is to save 20 other sons, 30, 40, 50 other sons. So he's not being selfish by saying, you guys support me on making this platform bring awareness to the issues. How dare we million man march? How dare we million woman march? And we didn't march in DC for this because this has been happening to us for decades. So we are more than a force. We are an amazing, powerful force. One blackout day is coming. Blackout day 2020 is on the way. Okay, one day. Kudos to you guys for making it happen. I black out my black dollars on lots of days. So kudos to you guys for giving it one day. But how about we join together? How about we join together? And when we do that, when we are one global force and we show up and we march and we say we want a law written that stops these incidents and puts immediate punishment on how do you feel about yourselves? How do federal agencies feel about themselves when you know about white supremacy existing, yet you're doing nothing about it? You know these websites are up. You see their activity across social media. You see their children go out and do the things that they're doing. And how dare you not do anything about it? It's a scary topic, but if we can unite as one and march as one and get in Congress and be the voice as one and say we are not leaving until you guys take those websites down. There's no power if there's no website to plan to cross across the streets. How many cities did he go across from the Dallas area to El Paso to shoot somebody he didn't like?
Right.
So you can stop that because he planned that on a website. So if you wanted racism to stop, they can stop it. But we have to make them stop it. What we don't stand up for, they don't care about.
Absolutely. And even that goes to the topic of this conversation. Said, where art thou, Black people? What are we doing? I was had a candid conversation with someone today when I talked about this topic. They said, okay, we've had all these conversations, we've had all this dialogue, and so what is your end game here at the end of the day? Are you just another person with a platform having a conversation? And, and I thought about that long and hard, Diva, saying that, well, damn it, I got to start somewhere. Yeah. And, if we don't start a conversation, and I'm hoping that this dialogue that you and I will have would actually spawn other, not just conversation, but as you just indicated, a galvanized move where we're saying, okay, we're going to do something and we're going to do it on a large scale where it starts to have an impact. And one of the things that we have is that you and I know we have to have legislation in place, that's going to bring these criminals to action and justice. And so that perhaps a lot of this idiotic stuff will stop happening because they're no longer going to get away with the stuff.
Here's what I challenge Black America when I say what you just said, the legislation. I challenge Black America to stop what you're doing and research how the Amber Alert became a thing. I challenge you to just research that.
Please enlighten us. Please enlighten us.
Amber, her mother can go and get legislation in place to create a system that notifies the phone. We need a Black alert system. You know what I'm saying? We need something that can immediately alert. There's an incident happening, Facebook Live, that's slow. And then that county will decide what they're going to do and how fast they're going to act on that. Similar to looking over Ahmaud's body and saying, what do we do about this? And taking 2 months to tell people to do something about it, right? So get a Black alert, hashtag Black alert. I've told my son like a host of ideas and things that I think of that, 911, research how that came about, okay? America wasn't built on 911. It started. It was a movement. So create, 411. We all love that. Black community. We can all relate to what's the 411, right? So create 411. That's immediately when an incident is taking place. And it is disrespecting a Black American and that person's life is in harm's way. We don't go to Facebook Live. You go to 411. That might already be in use. I have no idea. But those are things that we can do to get in place to say we're serious. Also, Black America, research the Navajo Nation. Where's our reparations? Where's our own president? Where's our own community? I could go on and on about these things all day, Cruz.
Well, and that's an excellent point because, again, the person I was having a conversation with is saying, where are our Black leaders? Where is the NAACP nationally? Where are, the voices of the Dr. Kings? Where are the voices of Malcom X? Where are the voices of Edgar Meggers and all this? Where, who's going to be our Moses. I guess is that what we're waiting for, something like that. And again, Diva, that creates a problem with us.
because
What the
we
hell are we
like
waiting
things to
on?
feel good. Chris, I don't mean to interrupt, but when you're
No,
regular people, we like things to feel good. We like, I had a dream. Well, I had one too, and it didn't do anything. Okay, so I'm not saying it didn't do anything at all, but it wasn't enough. So the white people told you to suppress the voice of Malcolm X. Didn't they? They told you to not listen to him. He's violent. But Malcolm X speeches, if you go back and listen to them, they make a lot of great points. So yeah, you can have a dream. We like to feel good and rock. I'm gonna tell your people a story if it's okay, and I hope I
go
don't
right
get in
ahead.
trouble for this.
This is our dialogue. This is what we
Okay,
used to do.
so I was in college, and one of the speakers that came, they had not dedicated a street to Dr. Martin Luther King. The law had been in place for years, but this particular city that I was in college at had yet to do it. So finally, the university that I was at said, I'm going to go ahead and do it, and I'm going to make it go through our university. So they created the MLK Drive. Well, Dr. Martin Luther King's niece came out, okay? And she was our speaker. And she said to us that, do you know that my uncle and my daddy, my uncle Martin Luther King and my daddy, do you know that the whole sing-song ministry thing started with a joke that they used to do at the family table? And they used to do it like an example, hand me the cornbread. You know, it was just a joke. But it feels so good that when people caught on to it, when he started playing around and doing it at church, it caught on to it. So in Black America, we always want to feel good. And I want to feel good too. But we can't just lean on feel good all the time. We got to do action. The feel good anthems are great. I Had a Dream is just an anthem in an era. But now we have to get out and we have to Colin Kaepernick our way down to that knee. And we have to do some real stuff with it. Because we are no longer dealing with the people of yesterday that would just put a bullet in the head when you had a dream. We're dealing with worse than that. They're coming for our children and our future. Dr. King lived his life when they put a bullet in him. Malcolm X lived his life when they put a bullet in him. They're coming for Tamir Rice and he's 9. They're coming for Trayvon Martin. He was a child. Ahmaud Arbery's in his 20s. They're trying to erase our legacy. This is bigger than just having a dream and sing-songing and feeling good with anthems. Hashtag Black Lives Matter, but what's next?
Absolutely. And I want to read a quote from Malcolm here. And again, Malcolm stated, quote, "You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he has freedom." And I think about that right now. How can we dare say that we're free and yet we are not at peace because we go through things? No white father can identify with me because he doesn't have that same fear for his sons that I have. So I have no peace. So therefore, I cannot say I am totally free. So I identify with what Malcolm is saying. And again,
I will say this for the white fathers. My son-in-law is a white father of a Black child. You know, there are some white fathers that can identify, but I get what you're saying. But there are some, even the ones that have adopted or married in, there are some that they have to now fear that there are people out there that hate that him and his wife mixed the child, and they're going to take it out on the child rather than come be a man about it and confront the father, you know? So,
and you're absolutely right, Diva. And I don't mean to alienate those that, as you said, that have African American children or children of color, and there are some that can identify with us. And you made an excellent point about how, and it kind of goes back to some biblical things here when they wanted to destroy a certain group of people, they always went after the male child. And that still holds true today, is if you want to stop a nation from growing, you want to decapitate a nation, you go after the male child. And if you can't destroy them, you try to break them. We saw that with Roots and
prison system.
break them. So right now we're at a point where they're trying to break us. Yeah, the prison system, they call it the school, the pipeline, the prison pipeline, all these things that again we see as black people, but yet you and I are talking about it. I got 5,000 people on my just on my personal page. There should be a lot more people tuning in and saying, "Okay, yeah, COVID is here, but we got a bigger problem as well as COVID."
And we're double tasked with it because we don't have, as a majority. Okay, here's the things that are not happening in Black America. You lost your job. I mean, your son loses his job. Okay, in your position, you're a well-off Black man, so you maybe could take care of your child and add him to your insurance. How many Black families can't do that? How many? So this crisis, this pandemic is like you said, it's a triple slap in the face to an already problematic system that's in place for Black America. So when you have people that instantly lose health care the minute they are laid off, and then they get offered this COBRA thing, well, you laid me off. I can't necessarily pay for COBRA right now. So it's a devastating system. And when grandma can't throw you on her insurance, but we have responsibility in our Black community to get to the place where grandma can put you on her insurance.
Absolutely. I'm reading some of the comments coming in here, and
Let's
I
hear
hope I
those.
get this right. As Mosiah is saying that Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson need to hit the street. And then she also said that Black folks need to vote in numbers. Let's deal with the first comment here about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson need to hit the street. I'm going to let you have that one, Diva, because I know you.
Nice, Chris. I'm not going to be nice.
I'm calling Black folk, where art thou? And they are Black folk, and where art thou?
It starts with our leadership. So just like we all, this nation was built on the foundation of the church. And the church, when people that are in religion and you're in the Christianity belief, then you understand this concept that the man is the leader, right? So how can a man, when people mess up, I need them to step down. And it's just my biggest pet peeve. And I'm always asking people to step down. When people mess up, I need them to step down. So when Al Sharpton, yes, lover, Diva's telling you, when you started having these troubles and then you left your wife or she left you or everybody left everybody, and you had a side chick, and then you wanted to get skinny for your side chick, and then you wanted to go off and show your side chick off with a pretty light skin and long hair. Like when you had all those issues, you needed to move out of position, and in an organization that has a very powerful voice, you needed to move out of the way, because you and the carrying ons of the Reverend Jesse Jackson has really caused our community to be distracted. So love you, brothers. You did some good things and you marched, and I had a dream about you marching, but it's over. You need to move back, and you need to let the young people in, and they need to get in there and they need to do the leading. You guys are a distraction. Your whole story is a distraction. Everything about what you bring to the table lately is a distraction. So yes, you do good, but you have to know when to say when. I said that about Paula White when she had all the drama going on, and she was still trying to preach. And girl, step down. What's the other girl? Juanita Bynum. Girl, you beat up your husband in the parking lot. Sis, like y'all in these positions. When you the book of Timothy. Someone give it to me. I forgot, Christian ministry minor, and I can't remember. But it's the book of Timothy where it talks about the leader needs to step down. Is it Timothy 3:1?
It isn't. It's
but you
not
need to step
yeah.
down when you're not leading correctly, right, Cruz?
That's correct. That's book, chapter, and verse. Absolutely.
Move
And it talks about the elder. Timothy was talking to the elders, and he said, when you don't have a good reputation, two places, in the community and in your home, you cannot be an effective leader. So when any of those things are compromised, move to the side. You're exactly right. Yeah.
Let someone else step in your shoes. And who can? Okay, I'm ready, because I know somebody's gonna challenge me when they watch this, and they're gonna say, just exactly who do you think can lead Black America in that organization right now? Jay-Z. Could easily. The JC can do it along with his wife for the philanthropy that they do behind the Black Lives Matter movement. So they could easily do it. Colin Kaepernick is beyond ready. Who more can understand the modern day issues more than Colin Kaepernick? There are many leaders that are ready and they can speak the language of today and do away with the language of yesterday. It didn't work. I love you guys. Thank you for doing it. But it didn't work. We're back. They're lynching. They're killing. They're shooting. They're beating. They're treating us bad. They're following us in stores. They're profiling us. They're stopping, frisking. So because of that, we have to do something different. And I love you for everything that you did. And I am not coming down on you. I didn't bring your household drama you did when you got your side chicks. So...
Here we are. All right, we're going to go to the next question.
Let's go to that next question.
All right, can you see the question on the screen? Because I'm putting them up now.
No.
You can't see the question on the screen.
I'm sorry. No, not where I'm I think I can click on chat.
Let's see. All right.
Okay. So I can see them. You know what? New York's going to have me my readers.
All right. He comes back with another comment here. It says, Black folks need to vote in numbers. How many times do we have to continue to have this on-all assault to get our people to understand that we cannot make changes effectively if we do not go out in mass numbers and vote? And then I'm going to put a little slash with that. A lot of people now are getting ready to use what Biden said as a reason not to vote. So please, Diva, let's talk about this. Black folk need to vote and whether or not Biden's comment is going to alienate the Black community.
Okay, so I'm going to start with some of the easier part of that, and that is you need to always vote. Whether you agree with what's going on or not agree, you always need to vote because your lack of a vote can impact your family member. You could not vote, and there could not be enough numbers for somebody to put out the person that wants to stop Social Security. And then your grandmother would not be able to take care of her bills and take care of herself. So you need to always, always vote. And stop being so personal and so sensitive that you can't. I'm going to tell you guys who I am in a minute with that. But like, you don't have to take that comment and say, well, I'm not going to vote. To take what Joe Biden said and say, well, I'm not going to vote because he said you ain't Black is equivalent in Miss Diva's mind as to say, I'm not voting. I mean, I'm not taking a bath ever again because Joe Biden said you ain't Black. Like, it's too serious. Don't you think it's a little bit extreme for you to take yourself and funky ass around over Joe Biden saying you ain't Black? You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit too much. So you can say, be comfortable enough to call people out on their mess, right? So be comfortable enough to say, just like I just did about Jesse Jackson, I went into, Al Sharpton, I went in on a couple of people. I'm not telling them that they didn't do anything good, but I'm comfortable enough to tell you what you did do wrong, right? So this coming from the same woman who, when I was invited to the White House, the Bush White House, George W. White House, because he wanted to honor our fallen soldiers, and we were all in line and we had breakfast with the president on the White House lawn. All of it was great. But there's this moment that happened when Texas to Texas met. And so he's Texas and I'm Texas, and he says something. And just like any other Texan, I'm telling him, he says, I'm going to try to win this war. Diva, that's nothing to get offended over. Well, to me it was. My soldier's gone. He's lost his life. Other soldiers have lost their life. I'm friends with 2,000 widows that I didn't ask to be friends with. We didn't want to be in this club. And you're going to try to win this war? So I said, sir, I need you to start saying, I'm going to win this war. My soldier's life
that makes sense
for you to say that you're going to try. I go home back to Texas from the White House. Secret Service calls me. And I thought they were trying to accuse me of stealing. So we had a hilarious moment where, like, I didn't steal anything out of that White House. But they were trying to tell me that Bush loved the moment. And he sent a picture with us hugging it out. We hugged it out. So, Uncle Joe, I'm gonna hug it out with you, but I'm gonna tell you you were wrong.
Hello.
So, if I
Exactly.
told us, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong.
It,
It was out of line.
and and I'm going to say this: that if I'm a political strategist for the Republican Party, especially the Trump administration, I'm going to use that to the fact that again, here's some ammunition. I'm going to pound that into black people's head to get them to, because we really, even though he's the presumptive Democratic president, we really don't have any other choices. So it's either you go out here and vote. I'm not getting. I'm going to say you go out and vote. You vote who you feel is going to be able to do the job, whether or not it's going to be a Democrat or Republican. I've cut that foolishness out a long time ago. I'm looking at your record. I'm looking at what you stand for. I'm
That's
looking
it.
at all the things that count, because at the end of the day, politicians are going to be politicians. So who's going to look out for the best interest of me? Who's going to look out the best interest for the people of color? Who's going to look out for those things that I am interested in? And that's where you have to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And a guy, and I'm going to say this real quick, Dave. Yesterday, I posted some on the Richmond VA Things to Do page, and it was just it was a picture of Joe Biden and President Obama. So the guy comes on the page. He says, "Take that crap down." And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, this is a page that not only am I the moderator and administrator, I created this freaking page. So,
Okay.
and I said, let me. You need to go back and look at the page again. I did not say vote for Biden. I didn't say vote for anybody. I said, damn it, it was just something as a reminder that we have an important election coming up and that we need to vote. Period. And so you're right. Sometimes you have to shut people down.
You do.
And after I
You
made
do.
that comment,
Yeah.
he was saying, "Well, let's just keep it fun." I said, "Well, we can keep it fun. We gonna keep this Richmond VA Things to Do fun, but
Right.
voting is important. So if you got a
Yeah.
problem, you can always just lead the group. And I'm
And
like,
here it is. Here it is again, Cruz. I am no longer in religion. No disrespect to the faith. I was raised in it. I cut teeth on the book of what is the first book, Genesis. So I've been in the religion a long time. But I will say this: there's a book that's related to religion that's so powerful, and that's the Bible. And Ecclesiastics will explain what you. There's a time and a place for everything. Yeah, we're gonna
yeah,
be in here. We're gonna have fun, but we're still gonna talk about voting. There's a time and a place for everything. You can't just have what is it, Key and Peele? The party never ends. Like
right,
you can't just party all day long, all year long. There's some serious things that need your voice. Vote, people, because your voice matters. Yeah,
Abs-
your black life matters to me, but your voice matters to me more, and you need to be heard. And you don't want to be the person that didn't vote, and then your great great grandchild looks back in the Library of Congress and see that you didn't vote, and then they don't have any respect for you. You could lose a connection years from now. Think about the future, you know. So vote,
absolutely.
vote, people, vote. It matters. And
Got
even if
another.
you think it doesn't, give it a try. You know.
Absolutely. Got another wonderful comment here, and this comes from somebody that you know and a very good friend. Brent Reborn says,
Oh,
one thing I've noticed is that there are still black people that have that crabs in the bucket mentality.
you know what? I like that very much because it's very true. That's the sugar honey iced tea. So yeah, I agree. I agree, honey. That crabs in the bucket mentality. He tells me these little terms sometimes. Um, I'm from Texas. I'm not sure that we say it like that. So he's nearby in the studio. Break down crabs in the bucket for us.
So people who would go out crabbing would just go out with buckets.
He said people who go out crabbing will go out with buckets.
And
Speaking to
will
the
wonder
microphone.
why.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me slide on around there behind you or something, Diva.
Can you hear me okay? Because I'm trying to sit in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine, Brent.
Okay.
If you all can hear Brent, put a comment in there saying that, hey, we can hear Brent.
Okay. So anyway, so you go out with these buckets, and people who didn't know much about crabbing would ask, "Why are you taking buckets to catch these crabs? What's going to stop them from getting out?" crabs have a fight or flight activity when they come out of water. And what happens is when you put them in a bucket, as soon as one crawls to the top to get out, the crabs under him grab his legs and pull him back down so they can get out. Instead of us coming together as people, and if you have a problem and I have a problem and you have a solution for my problem and I have a solution for your problem, hey, let's get together and network and work out our problems. We're pulling ourselves back down into that bucket. If you look at every other culture that booms, they look out for each other. The Native Americans, the Indians, the Asians, the Latin Americans. But what do we do for ourselves? We got a couple out there that are making it, and we have a couple of good examples out there that are showing us the right way to do it. However, if you really look at politics, if you really look into religion, you'll see a whole lot of Black leaders who are doing it, but they're not sharing their knowledge. I don't need your money. Show me how to make my money. You know what I mean? I don't need your handout, but if you can show me
the secret,
how you did it,
like it,
then I can show somebody else how I did it. And now our community has perpetual money. You understand what I'm saying?
We like it.
But it's too many of us with that crab in the bucket mentality that, you know what, I see Johnny, he about to blow up, man, but you know what, I ain't supporting him. I'm going to support this man down the street because his price is about 5 cents less. Granted, you're going to spend $2 in gas to go get to his place. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you don't want to support your own people because you feel like we're trying to get over. Nobody's trying to get over. We're trying to get up and above.
The lack of unity.
You know,
exactly.
Lack of unity, like it happens. You opened that can of worms. Were you sure you were ready for that can of worms?
Look, I'm finna go fishing with those worms. Okay, that's what I'm about to do with that.
Listening. Let's hear it.
You know, and Brett breaks up some excellent points. Let's just take you and I, David, for an example. Both of us have our own platforms and everything. We both are doing, but we're coming together as a whole to make awareness. Now, some other people probably wouldn't be as open. You could have been very well said, you know what? I ain't got time for cruise. I got my own thing going on. Or I could have said, you know, I'm going to run, you know, do this talk show myself tonight. You know, Diva, you know, people get, like you said, that crab in a barrel mentality. And this is why I wanted to do this show tonight. Brett just kind of brought it home because I am so damn tired. I'm going rolling Martin here. I am so damn tired of Black people holding on to each other and understanding when we pull each other back down, we're in the same damn condition we were before. Hell, we're at the bottom of the goddamn barrel.
That part.
And so why can we not understand that why not push you up rather than pull you down? Because if I pull you down, guess what? You falling on top of me.
Yeah, that part. That part. And it's just like, it's the one thing that you've seen destroy us over and over and over again, Cruz. We're not whining about it. We're saying we're done. We are unapologetically saying enough, my people.
Right. Enough. Have you, there was a segment, and again, Brett, thank you for bringing that, because don't go nowhere, because I got some more coming. Okay. There was a segment on Blackish, and you brought up a word, Diva, apologetic, and I love Blackish, especially this particular episode where he was feeling that he had to apologize for being Black because he had this corporate job, he had made it, and you know, and I can identify with that because here's where I am. Here's my confession: is that okay? I got a corporate job, and I'm doing okay. So if I don't take this platform and say something, am I compromising my Blackness? Am I, every time I want to say something on a program, am I gonna have to put out a disclaimer? You know, do I have to be apologetic because I have a passion for my people. I have a passion for those people that are being brutalized. Do I have to apologize and say, well, I don't want to start a race riot or whatever, and do those type of things before I make a goddamn statement? I'm sorry.
Here
I
I
am.
am as your life
Go ahead,
coach.
please.
I am telling you as your life coach, Cruz. I'm telling you, even Brent, as your life coach, you unapologetically do not have to explain yourself to anyone. Here's my favorite part. Do you guys remember Lil Wayne, that one? Lil Wayne. Sorry, honey always tells me to say Lil Wayne. Do you guys remember that one song where it's the intro starts out clearly? Lil Wayne answers to no one. John, you got yourself to that success. You did that. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Unapologetically, this is what I want to talk about today. Tomorrow it may be this. Tomorrow it may be that. Get on board or don't. Get on board or don't. Unapologetically, this is what I'm going to do. I think that we tend to tear people. What do I call it? Negging. We tend to do the negging thing to try to make people feel bad for what they want to share or do. And in that attempt to neg you, it's supposed to suppress you. No, unapologetically. Do you? Clearly, Diva answers to no one. This is true. Are we still here, you guys? Are we still live? I lost Cruz.
I'm back now. We
Okay,
had some. I guess somebody didn't want me to get upset. they unplugged the internet.
You know what? You unapologetic. You have the right to, and when you rewind it, you'll see what I said. Clearly, Lil Wayne answers to no one is an intro to a Lil Wayne song, and I have lived that for the last 3 or 4 years. I've been in unapologetic mode. I have a new series called the Unapologetic Sessions that I do on another platform in London, and I'm telling you guys, clearly, Diva answers to no one. I will respect my authority. I want to go back to something someone said in a comment that you shared, maybe the first and second comment. About what do we do? Oh, no, you were talking about your son and about when you send him out. There's a lesson that I felt like my son, I love that my children are in position to teach me now. And my son said something very powerful, and it was like, Mom, I see a lot of a need to comply and complain later. And that, I know that boils our blood, but I'm telling you that with these authorities that are racist in uniform, your life is going to be easier when you're dealing with the uniforms, when you comply and complain later. Learn to complain to your attorney, and learn to give your attorney leverage in court to say, you see, look at the video, judge. My client did not curse him out. My client did not resist. My client put their hands up when they said, learn to get your money, get your coins rather than running your mouth with that. He's not going to change his mind and not be a racist just because you snapping. He's going to be that same racist he was when he got up that morning to have his donuts. So,
Excellent point, Diva. And you're right. I say that all the time because my wife is a pistol. And I tell her, all the time, I said, there are situations where we do have to comply because we got to live to tell our story. And that at the end of the day, how you hurt people is in their pocketbook. So if you can live to tell your story and you've done everything to justify it in terms of where you were compliant, you didn't cause any problems, just like the doctor down in Miami didn't cause any problems. He lived to tell his story now. And guess what? Miami and the city of Miami finna pay that brother. Hello.
And unapologetically take that money, brother, and go to Cancun every day if you want to. I applaud you for doing whatever it is that you feel like doing with it, because that moment is traumatic. And if they can give reparations to the Navajo Nation, they can start doing the same to the Black Nation. It is time. It is beyond time to start taking care of us with these incidents. So if the Lee Merritts of this world and if the Benjamin Crumps of this world, they all got to continue to jump up and stand up, and y'all won't stop, then get ready to spend your money, white races. You know, here's something else that I wanted to say when it comes to the NAACP. As soon as I said Lee Merritt, I thought of it. Black people. The United States, look it up. I can't quote the number of the law, has a law that stops the NAACP from soliciting any incident. Okay, they call it solicitation. So if you don't, mother of Trayvon Martin, if you don't call for the NAACP, they can't come. So if you've got something that happened in your community, if you don't tell them about it, physically write it down, big call. If there's no proof of that you came to them, there's a law. Who do you think put that law in place, Kiva? Right. So you know that they made a law. So they can't come to you just because it happened and they saw it on the news. It's not how it works. Do your research. Thank
you, David. That's some great information, and we need to keep putting that out there because I wasn't aware of that at all, and I'm sure, 99% of our people are not aware that
you have to call for them. So it's not always Jesse Jackson and Reverend L. Jackson, whatever his name is, Reverend Al Jackson. What's his name?
Al Sharpton.
Al Sharpton. Yes. I think I screwed up his name. I'm so sorry, but those guys do not really have my respect in the relationship area, but you know, they are a distraction when you start talking about them. And I do say, if I stood on here to tell people anything today, we got to do things differently. We got to get rid of those guys. We got to put in new guys or new women. So we have to put some people in place that will be about the people without the distractions, that will live a life that is morally respected, so that there's no issues to deflect from.
Absolutely.
Thank you for letting me say that part on my own.
No problem. Roberta Sweet said that she didn't know that. Thanks for that information. Brian McGaney, who is down in actually in El Paso, Texas, right now, said that's right.
El Paso.
Yeah, he's actually a Fort Hood personnel as well. So he's in the United States Army. Hats off to him. Thank you. Absolutely. And he says, that's right. Get those coins.
That's it.
And of course, our girl, Christine Patrick, said, make sure we vote no matter who we believe in. We need to believe and vote. Let's see.
Yeah, just vote. It's not going to hurt you to go vote. Here in Colorado, we fill out the ballot. We put it in the mail. We go on about our day. Too easy. 1, 2, 3, walk up the street, throw it in the box. Go on about my day. Didn't interrupt any time at all. So
absolutely.
Take off some of these extra pounds I'm working with. Thank you, COVID. Thank you.
Dave, we're going to have to come back because even an hour is not enough to deal with all of the things that are going on in our community. And I'm about, again, awareness, just like it was with prostate cancer. When I had prostate cancer, I did a fundraiser and brought about the awareness. There's another cancer that I'm concerned about, and that's the cancer racism. And until we start, we have to eradicate it. And I mean, not treat it.
I see a march happening. I'm coming in, Cruz. We're going to fly in for that. I see a cruising cancer, racism cancer march. What color? Oh, our ribbon's going to be purple. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I am tired of Susie taking all that money. Oh, no, I don't want to say. But look, we're going to raise the money and we're going to do something about it. We're not going to just keep raising money and not give you a cure. So we're coming to your march if you have it.
We're going to have, in fact, so to the people that were saying, we just now had some more people just talking. No, this is you're going to see some things happening because, again, you got a lot of talk shows talking a lot of crap. But again, as we know, it takes money and action, and you got to have money to start an action. You got to have an action in order to get people involved to give money. So, yes, it's time for us to start to eradicate the cancer, racism, and I know you're not afraid of a fight and at all, and that I think
it's not. Unapologetically, I am not.
And so again, we need to. If somebody asks, what do we go from here? we start a strategic plan. Yeah, the blackout is going to be good, but we got to have something along with the blackout that's going to continue. What we,
Here's some
yeah,
areas of money where you can support Cruz on this. You know, he's going to need to have volunteers that will help him to write his local NAACP so that they can get involved. And once they're involved, it just evolves. So he's going to need volunteers. That's your solution. And you guys can also make sure that you can not shop for one day, and that's commendable, but you could not buy $200 Nikes. You know, thank you, Nike, for representing Colin Kaepernick. I do appreciate that. But you could do some things that don't have, you can stop doing things, right? So if you have a $500 car note, you can switch it to a $200 car note and kind of donate some of that extra money that you're saving. Come on, you can't drive a Prius? No. But there are things that you can do to cut back that could black out your money all year round.
absolutely.
Look around yourself and see about the things that you don't really need to have and do that could save money that could put back into the community.
And Diva, I want everybody, as we wind down here, we're going a few minutes over, and I don't care because that's the problem when you own your own station. I want you to please give everybody, where they can contact you, where they can follow you on social media and watch your programs as well, because you do this 24/7, and so and I watch your comments and I see how people react or don't react and what have you. So to hell with them, as Roland would say. Please give out your information, and also if you have a way for them to donate to help you stay on the air as well.
I appreciate that. So I haven't set up a donation link yet, but you can support the books, and I promise you by buying the books, that's a good way. So you can reach out to me on social media, MZDEEVA, the number 4 and YOU. That's on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow the Diva blogs on Facebook. #ASKDEEVA. When you're purchasing the books, when you're purchasing the product, I have a tea that's coming out. So when you guys just purchase, and also I have a new streaming service that I'm doing. So if you'll go, you can't be a part of have 4 episodes up, but you have to become a member. But if you'll just become a member and support my episodes on there, then that's another way to just help, be able to start some fundraising of sorts. But I just want you to do what we're asking you to do versus just sit and watch. Like once you sit still and listen, strategize what works for you in your home, then go do. I need that more than your money, and I'm here. You guys start that. I'm here to come in for that. That would be very powerful. Racism is a cancer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed.
I want to give a big shout out to one of my radio personalities, Miss Becky G. Of course, she says we better get out and vote for sure. And I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight, and we hope that you found this segment informative and enlightening. I guarantee you there's going to be some follow-ups sessions with Diva and I, because I'm ready. Again, we go way back. This is what we did on Blog Talk. And I am glad for this reunion. I'm glad that we're having to come in this vein, but I'm glad that we're uniting for a larger cause. And at the bottom of my screen, you see our website, and we are at this particular time are taking donations to stay on the air, because I can't do this if I'm not on the air. So again, if maybe that Starbucks coffee, maybe miss that Starbucks coffee for a couple of days and put this money into keeping us on the air, because not only are we going to give you smooth jazz, R&B, gospel, the more is what we're doing tonight. This is the more part of the Cruise Inc. organization. And Diva, I want to thank you. I want to give a big shout out again to Brent for those phenomenal. And we're gonna have both set up where we're gonna have all of us on the screen at the same time. I love this new platform.
I need to get him in next time. We caught him on his off day, and I'm running my mouth on his off day. I've been all across the globe in a bunch of podcasts today. And so he's like, really? I thought you were free today. So
Well, Brent,
but he did contribute a good deal. Yeah.
Thank you for allowing us to have a bit of your time. I'm not going to delay your time anymore and take her away again, because I understand that family is important. And I want to wish you guys, and let me say this, Diva, publicly while I'm at this. Tomorrow I'm going to fly my flag. And I'm not flying it because necessarily of the red, white, and blue, but I'm flying it in memory of every person of color that gave their life for the red, white, and blue. So don't ask me about America hadn't did anything for me or why you celebrate America. I am celebrating and remembering those that put their life on the line, gave their lives, who were Black people, so that we could even be here today to have this conversation. And for those that are still protecting our country right now, putting their lives on the front line. So that is why I will fly my flag tomorrow. It is not about Betsy Ross. It's not about George Washington. It's not about that. Right, exactly.
Those are deflections to keep you away from thinking about the many contributions. Shout out to all of my African American people, friends, my family members, people that serve across the states, overseas, deploying for us, just to keep us safe, so we can sit here and comfortably do a podcast in the studio. We owe them that. So don't get distracted by Betsy Ross and strikes, and don't play those games, because white people create those topics to get you off from seeing what they're up to. See, if you don't pay attention to those things, you'll see the McMichaels in your neighborhood and you'll stop them before they take a life. If you stop being too the petty little things like that, like, what has America done for us and all those kind of things, we have to change. Our young people are tired of that conversation, and we have to follow what our young people want to talk about. And so we have to get in line with the conversations that matter. So thank you for doing that for my soldier and for many friends, soldiers that are lost as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Diva, and you all have a fantastic rest of the Sunday evening.
Charity, Christine, and the whole cruising family. Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. All right, everybody, this has been your boy Cruz, the Beast from the East, here with Cruise Inc. Radio 102 Live, and we've had some candid conversation tonight, and we want to thank Miss Diva. You can follow her if you just do hashtag Ask Diva. You'll be able to find her on any of the social media platforms. Thank you for everybody, all your wonderful comments. Thank you for all those that tuned in. And I am dead serious about this. When you look back on this telecast, this broadcast, when you go to our YouTube, and it is on our YouTube channel, it is Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8 TV. Share it, subscribe, help us to start to make some, not just conversation, but make some real change to what's going on. As I always say in departing, whatever comes from the heart reaches the heart. So this comes from my heart to you, is that we have some good white folk, we got some good Black people, we got some evil white people, we got some evil Black people. But if good people don't do anything, then what we're doing is we're co-signing off on what evil people do, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of color. When good people don't do anything, evil continues to exist. So let's start doing some things. Let's start eradicating the cancer of racism. You all have a blessed Sunday night and also a wonderful Memorial Day. Thank you again to all our soldiers, present, past, and future. Have a great night.